Okay, so starting in Sukhasana, or whatever position you want to take, but we are going to be doing some upper body movements, so make sure you feel free enough to do that. I'm sitting on my bolster because I'm going to use it in the class as we go on through this class. So if you've got a bolster, you can roll up a pillow in a blanket, which is quite good. It stays put. You can use your yoga blocks and also your yoga brick, which is a slightly smaller one, the inch high one, which sometimes you don't need a full size brick when you're needing support, or you can use your blanket and roll it up if necessary. It gives you a little bit more height and strength from it. So this morning's class is called Housekeeping, and it's all about well, it's mostly twists that we're doing. We're going to do it in a right-left sequence, so we'll do one side right through and then the other side right through, which is quite extensive on that side that we're working on. You might feel it quite strongly. Please feel free at any point to break and have a stretch or whatever you need to do. The thing to remember with twists, the main thing to remember is try and think of a long spine before you move into the twist. Because if you think of your vertebrae, if they're all crushed up together and you try and twist, you're grating bone and bone. If you try and plump up those cushions that are between your vertebrae and extend first of all, and then twist, then you've got a lot more movement and you're not putting so much pressure through the spine. So that's, it's not quite so relevant when we're lying down as when we're standing up for twisting, but that's the point to remember with twists. Okay, so starting with a kind of version of Anuloma Viloma, but working with the breath to try and get ready for this practice. That's the idea of it. Just sit however you're comfortable in Sukhasana if that's the choice you've made. Hands just to start on your knees or in Chin Mudra or wherever they're comfortable. Closing your eyes and finding that posture, first of all, before we even look at anything else. Find the posture from the sit bones. Think of those cushions between your vertebrae and your spine and see if you can lift up through to the crown and feel them almost plumping up. Just finding that space where your discs, etc., are sitting in between. They're supposed to be there to shock absorb, and if they're all squished, then they won't do that. So try and lift up and give yourself space there. Also then you've got space for breathing. So think of the posture points. The tummy draws in. We lift out of our pelvis, sitting on the sit bones here instead of the feet. And then we draw back through the scapula, the shoulder blades. We're drawing them back towards each other. And then opening up our chest slightly forward. The heart moves then. Tucking the chin to find that long back of neck and a bit of space there in the cervical spine as well, by lifting up through the crown. And then let yourself just settle about 10% or so. And then watch your breath. And start to just gather the breath. So just start to elongate your breath, inhaling and exhaling to the sort of same length. So you might find one was longer than the other. Try and stabilize the breath. Try and make it a little bit more fluid, a bit smoother. Taking it right down as far as you can, down through the spinal area, and then releasing from wherever it gets to. And then if you can multitask and move your fingers, your index and your middle finger up to your third eye, then do so. Continue breathing, but you will breathe anyway, remember. And what we're going to do here for our breath practice is in through both nostrils, and then close off. First of all, we'll close off the right nostril and exhale through the left. And then we'll in through both nostrils, close off the left, exhale through the right. And that's the pattern. So when you're ready and you're on the correct part of that breathing cycle, inhale through both nostrils. And then use your thumb to gently close off the right nostril and exhale through your left nostril. Don't need to force it, just keep it nice and fluid, the breath. Inhale again through both nostrils. Close off the left nostril with your ring finger. Exhale through your right. Inhale both nostrils. When you're ready, if I'm going at the wrong speed for you, please take your own speed. Close off and breathe out through your left nostril. Inhale through both when you're ready. And exhale through your right. And continue with that little cycle there. Eyes closed if you can. Close your eyes comfortably. And just think of how the breath is clearing your head here. Clearing the staleness in your physical body as well, through your lungs, filling you with new life force, prana, but also with new oxygen to circulate around everything. So it's like the first part of the cycle in the washing machine. Just that little rings that we're doing here using the breath. So we're working with Sauca this morning, which is one of the Niyamas on the Eightfold Path of Patanjali, the Eightfold Path of Yoga. So the Niyamas are more about personal observances. So it's more about looking after yourself and making sure you're ready to be able to look after others, really, is the way I like to think of it. And therefore, this is a bit of housekeeping for us, this session. So we're going to use twists. Now, there's some debate still now about twists and whether they detox us, but certainly I feel when I've done a twist class that I'm detoxed. It wrings us out. It literally moves all the organs in your body. So I don't see how it can't affect things in there. So you might feel that after the class, and hopefully it'll be a good feeling. And if you don't, it's just really good for your muscles, etc., and your spine to move. Take a few more breaths, just thinking about how the breath is now detoxifying you. Breathe in that clear prana through both nostrils. Exhaling through your left when you do that is your Ida Nadi. It's your calmer side, but it can be lethargic. So we're thinking of getting rid of anything that's stealing us through the left nostril. And bringing in the prana again before the right nostril, which is your Pingala Nadi, your right channel. That is our active channel, but it can also be overactive and a little bit high. So when we breathe out through that, we're getting rid of any excess energy, which isn't always good energy. Take a few more, thinking of left stale, right excess energy that you're losing, you're detoxing yourself of. And then when you finish on your right exhale, let go of the breath. Just keep your eyes closed for a moment. Let your hands settle wherever you're comfortable. Just notice how that makes you feel, how you feel after that process, that practice. Breath control is often worked with stilling the mind, which it is very useful for. But we forget sometimes that it really is good for the physical body. And with COVID about again, this is a really good thing to remember, that you know how to breathe and you know how to make your breathing healthier. Okay, so open the eyes when you're ready. We're just going to take a few movements before we go down to do the twist, just to open up. Our side bodies really here we're thinking of, because when you twist, we want open side bodies. One will contract, one will open. In the twist, the same as in a side bend. So we want to just find some length there. So when you're ready, find your breath again. And we're inhaling and just taking the arms up above the head. And turning the palms downwards and exhaling down. Take one more of those. Feeling lift out of your pelvis as you inhale. Exhale, breathe out from the bottom you upwards. As you take your hands up this time and the breath in, when you get to the top, turn your palms to face forward, to face the wall in front of you, and then exhale down. And notice the difference in your shoulder girdle there and what you've had to switch on to change that position. So inhaling, taking the arms out to the side, up above your head. And at the top, turning the palms forward and then exhaling. I'm going to switch on a little bit more of the upper back muscle area. So we're going to be working with those muscles in the twist. You need these muscles to twist as well. It's not all about just round the waist or the hips. The upper back is involved too. Take the arms down one more time. Moving into a kind of cat-cow here. So take the arms in front of us this time. Inhale up. Reach up and extend, and then maybe roll the heart a little bit forward, not too far the first time. Exhale, rolling down, taking the arms down, keeping the upper back just in the cat back. Keep the lower back kind of strong, and lift the hands up gently behind you. So it's kind of like bird we're doing here. So inhaling up, finding that little extension first of all, and then rolling the heart up towards that top corner. Exhaling, rolling forward from the heart, tuck the chin, keep the lower body still and take the hands up behind you. So it's an upper body cat and through your cervical spine. Inhaling one more time, rolling forward. Try to keep the tummy engaged, don't let it roll forward with you. And then exhaling, feeling those shoulder blades having to work here, and all the muscles round about there is having to get involved. Lifting the hands behind you, coming back up to neutral. Take some side bends now. So inhale the left arm up, take the right hand down to support you. Exhale, lift and roll over to your right side, so extending your left side. Inhale back up to the top, take one more, so just exhale at the top with the arm up. Inhale, lift up through the left side body particularly. Exhale, take the armpit to hip movement on the right hand side. So your agonist is your right hand side, your antagonist is your left hand side. Back up to the top, exhale the arm down, take two to the other side. So inhale up, find that extension, exhale over, keep that top shoulder rolled back, watch it's not rolling forward. Inhale up. Stay there as you exhale. One more, inhale up. Exhale over. Feel that expansion on the right hand side this time. Lift back up on the inhale. Exhale the arm down. Just a gentle twist to start here. So lift up through the spine as you inhale. Exhale, rotate the right shoulder, and move round towards your right. So just rolling round. Watch the nose will want to go ahead of you. Stop there. Take a couple of breaths in this position. So I take my left hand over to my right thigh as well, just to give me a little bit more leverage without forcing, pulling round. Excuse me. So take a couple of breaths here, thinking of lifting. And as you exhale, see if you can just draw that right shoulder back a little bit more. So draw your scapula towards the center. Your rhomboid you're using there. Lots of well-known big muscles in your back that we use in twists. Take one more inhale, and as you exhale, just gently rotate back to neutral. Take a breath or so and feel the resonance. And then inhale tall again, exhale to the other side, moving through from the shoulder girdle, right down through the spine towards your hips. Cross the arm if you feel comfortable doing so. Maybe even your nose wants to go ahead this time and you look behind you. Take a couple of breaths here. Keep that lift and extension and expansion. And then inhale. lift up, exhale, rotate, come back to the front. And then get rid of whatever you're sitting on, and we'll take a couple of cat-cows before we move down into the twist, just to move our spine a little bit more. So coming to your tabletop position, remember to rotate your inner elbows, switch on your hands, switch on your knees and your feet, the front of your back of your feet. Lift up your tummy. Inhale here in neutral. As you exhale, start at the tailbone, roll up through the spine. Imagine the back of the spine now, all those spaces opening up as you roll up into cat. And then inhaling, we're going forward from the bottom of the spine upwards. So start the tail moving, ripple through and feel the opening on the front of the vertebrae. Take one more of each. Take it slowly on the breath. Make your breath be the control of the movement here. Slow it down. Feel every vertebrae opening up. Like those slinky snakes that the kids used to have and played with, where you held it by the tail and it wiggled about. Okay, so then bring yourself down onto your backs. Make sure you've got your props kind of handy in case you're going to need them. Not everybody will, but some of us will. Okay, so lying in on our backs, bring your feet together. We're going to go straight into Bananasana on the right hand side here. So we're walking our feet over to the left. Bottom stays still and heavy. The shoulders then move over to the left. So you're in that curvy banana shape. Take the arms if you're comfortable above the head, folded elbows, whichever is most comfortable this morning, or stretched out above your head and holding your right wrist with your left hand if you want to, and crossing your right foot over your left ankle if you want to. Just gives you a bit more extension. Find your breath and find the space on the right hand side of you now. Breathe into that space. Breathe into the right side of your rib cage, front and back. Quite difficult in some positions to move the breath to where you feel comfortable. The ribs may feel a little bit sticky there. You might find that you don't feel the opening very easily with the breath. Just telling you that you need to move those muscles a bit more. You can take the breath a little bit further down towards your waist and your hips. On the right hand side, particularly where the space is. And then walk one part of you and then the other back to neutral. Bring the feet in now, flat to the floor. Width of the mat. Nearer they are to you, the higher up this twist will go. Further away, the lower down, obviously. So we're just going to pop the hands out to the side to use them as support. Have a block or something if you think you might need it here. And we're going to stop when we do windscreen wipers to the left-hand side. So when you're ready, do a few windscreen wipers. Just start them very softly, rolling through the hips, letting the feet roll from side to side, from the inside edge to the outside edge. Just feeling that movement starting to work itself through the lower body, front and back. Shoulders aren't doing very much here. And then we're going to, on your next one, if you're comfortable, we're going to stop on the left-hand side. So windscreen wiper to the left, and just let your legs hang out. So the bottom one, you can stick something under it. It might be a cushion, might be a block, or it could just be your hand, your left hand under your left thigh. You can support it enough, maybe. The upper one will feel like it's dangling, but that's the point, is here that we're just releasing that upper hip. As I say, you might want to then just move your feet up and down slightly, not too much. Just feel the difference in where the twist moves to. Maybe you can feel it moving slightly up through your waist. And then just breathe. Find that point that you want to breathe into, wherever it's tight. You may notice it's your lower hip holding on. So you might want to use your exhale and focus on that lower hip to tell it to release. Maybe your jaw, maybe someone else completely. Just a gentle twist across the abdominal muscles, particularly here. And then carefully engage your tummy muscles, draw your knees back up. Not where I'm going now. Oops. Okay, so we're taking our legs out again and then drawing in our right knee into half Bananasana. So you can grab the back of your thigh here or grab the front of your shin. Just watch your knee if you do the shin, just make sure there's not too much force going through there. Try and keep the neck nice and long here and relax the shoulders back down to the floor. Inhale, and as you exhale, draw your knee in a little bit closer towards your chest. Inhale, release it away again, just slightly. Exhale, draw it in. Inhale, exhale, one more time. And then you're going to need your block or whatever, maybe on your left hand side again. You're going to take your left hand and use it then just to guide that right bent leg over towards the left hand side. So it's coming down now, either to the floor or onto your bolster or onto a brick or whatever you need to support it there, your hand would do. But I'm going to use my hand to put on top of my right thigh, the bent leg, my left hand on my right thigh, just with a little bit of extra weight. No forcing, no pulling, just to weight it a bit. So if I had a sandbag, that's what I'd be using here. Now the top shoulder might have come off a little bit, so take your attention to your back arm and rotate it so that your palm is facing upwards. Take it out a little bit further if you can at shoulder height or just below shoulder height, not quite that high. And then rotate your head to look towards that back hand and see if that top shoulder just can drop a little bit more towards the floor. So that will have put a little bit more of a twist through your middle. The more your top shoulder drops, obviously, the more the twist will come in. Find your breath again and find what's holding on. What are you holding on to? Try and use your exhale to release. It's not always what we think we're holding on to that's causing the problem. It can be something that's a little bit hidden. So here physically, it would maybe be your lower hip. Might even be that whole leg with a glute. It might be that your upper left shoulder isn't allowing your head to turn just as much as you think it should. So you might need to release the upper left shoulder, the left shoulder rather. So use your breath to find what needs to let go. And as you do, the twist may get deeper. There should be no pain involved in anything we do in yoga. So you might get a little bit of discomfort here because you're finding muscles that haven't been opened or contracted for quite some time across the front of your body, particularly maybe. If anything feels really wrong, though, please always come out of it. Anyway, we're coming out of it. So rotate the head up to neutral before we move. Draw the knee in a little bit closer, switch your tummy muscles on, and use that left hand just to guide it back up to central. And then carefully pop that foot to the floor. You can have an extension if you'd like to now on the right hand side. And then we're going to come into the similar position, but we're going to bring both knees in. So do them one at a time. Remember the SI joints. That's why we bring legs in one at a time. So bring them both in into full Bananasana now. Pop the hands behind the thighs or on the shins. Just have a little rock through the lower back there before we move into the next part. Just have a bit of a roll through the base of the spine and across the pelvis. And then we're going to engage the tummy muscles. Pop the hands out to the side as support. Engage your tummy muscles. Inhale, and as you exhale, roll over again towards your left-hand side with both legs this time folded in Bananasana. Now, you might again find you need straight away some support. You might get over, that's fine. Try and keep the ankles, knees, hips stacked as much as you can. There may be some movement, but see if you can keep them as close together as you can. And again, that top shoulder, look to the back hand, looking towards it and extending through your left cervical spine here. Or twisting rather, rotating. And then if you can, and you want to try this, lengthen the top leg. So your right leg, you're unfolding. Be careful of hamstrings here, please. We haven't warmed them out up. But it's still supported by the lower leg, but you've now unfolded the top leg. And the option here is to rotate your head maybe before you try this, is to walk your hand down, catch a hold of your shin or your calf, or even if you can walk it down, catch a hold of your big toe. So as I say, be careful, we haven't warmed up hamstrings, so just be careful. It's a big stretch in the back of the leg, this one. If you can't quite get there, please don't force yourself into it. It's not a competition. And then you maybe want to rotate your head and look towards your big toe in your hand or your extended leg or wherever you are, but eyes still closed. So with eyes closed, you can think you're doing something that you're not. You might still have your leg quite bent, and that's fine. We're just extending a little bit through the lower hip area here. Taking a few breaths here. Thinking of that top shoulder still if you can, and look backwards again, rotate and see if that lets your shoulder open across your collarbone on the right hand side. Find the breath. See if you can find a little bit more space for the inhale. Release on the exhale. Rotate the head back up to neutral, let go of the foot. Carefully fold that leg back in so both legs are still over to the side. Engage your tummy muscles, draw your knees a little bit closer to you. And then inhale and draw yourself back up using your hands as support. Take one foot to the floor at a time. Extend the legs away from you. Have a little bit of a body stretch in between if you feel you need it. And then we're going to roll onto our sides. I take more of an extension here than a twist. Knees bent, heels kind of in line with your bottom here. We're doing a modified version of half plank, side plank, that's the one. Lift that inner, your waist underneath, lift it up, don't sink down to the floor, lift up so you've got a nice long spine feeling still. Elbows should be roughly in line with the shoulder, though I do feel with this sometimes I need to have my elbows slightly further forward because when I move up, my shoulder moves with me. So if your elbows tuck too much under, you put awkward pressure through your shoulder. So be aware of that. You might want your shoulder just a little bit out of line as you sit here, so that if you're going to lift. Option is just arms or to lift hips and arms here. So we're going to take two and then we're going to hold for a couple of breaths. So when you're ready, inhale, arm and hips or just arm, lift up, open up, lift up that waist and exhale back down. One more, and then in the third one we're holding, inhale up, keep that tummy engaged, open up through. Sorry, my phone's pinging. Third one we're holding. So just make sure you feel that elbow shoulder connection is there now as you lift up. So you see I've moved forward and now my shoulder is over my elbow and I feel completely supported. So lift up through your waist if you've got your hips up or not, and lift up through the armpit of the upper shoulder and roll that top shoulder back a little bit so it's not casting shadow on your face. Open up through the collarbone there so that you're stacked, and breathe. Keep that waist lifted. Imagine I've got you by a rope around your waist and I'm lifting you up. Even if you haven't lifted your hips, still lift the waist. Exhale back down when you're ready. And then we're going to come back round to tabletop. So take your time. If you need any movements in between or you want to rest in child's pose, please take it. Back into tabletop, and we're going to take twisted roots here. So I always suggest to have knees a little bit wider than hip distance apart here. We're going to open up the right hand side again. So we're going to, hold on, I got this wrong the last time I did this. So we're twisting, yeah. So we're opening up using our left hand, lifting up in the inhale, opening up, and then folding that arm under and through the other one to bring ourselves down to the floor in a kind of figure of four. Head comes to the floor onto the side, left side of your head, and then you're down in thread the needle. So when you're here, look at the hips and draw them back across towards the left-hand side if they've wandered. And then if you can, walk that right hand out ahead of you so it's stretched out and extended. And then pop your head so you're looking under your right armpit. So if this is too strong for you, you already know, please come out carefully and just go into extended child's pose. And then maybe walk to your left-hand side in extended child's pose and get that extension in your right-hand side. Otherwise, take a few breaths here in this position, everybody, keeping the tummy engaged, keeping the hips and knees stacked, and putting that little twist in through the upper back by looking under the right arm. Again, be careful of necks always. You are putting the twist into the upper body here, so be careful of your cervical spine. Necks are delicate. And you can always do a modified version of what I say. Remember, I'm guiding you. When you're ready, walk that hand back in, so the right hand, so it's in front of your face as support there. Use that to support you as you inhale, lift up, open up. Carefully on the left-hand side, bring the hand back to the floor. And then take the toes together, open the knees and sit back for a second in wide leg child's pose. Just pop the elbows to the floor, let the body reset. Come back to a sort of neutral point of the spine. Still extended here in child's pose. Head down if it's comfortable. If it's not, fold your arms and pop your hands on under your head on your arms. Take a few breaths there before we move forward again. And then moving up again carefully. Come up to tabletop. Rock back, bring your I did it again wrong here. Bring your right leg forward. No, left leg forward. Left leg forward. Get my left and right wrong this one. Okay, so you might want your brick inside your foot here, or you might can just use your hands. I'm up in my fingertips. We're putting our fingers together in Anjali Mudra inside our front leg. And all we're doing is Robin Hood openers here. So we all know them. Before we do, move that knee over the front ankle. See if you can extend a little bit more through your hips. If that's too strong, please bring your back knee in a little bit under your hip. And then all we're going to do, and if you've got that position, you're going to have to come up a bit higher, but that's fine. You don't need to have your hands on the floor to start. Okay, so when you're ready, inhale, take that elbow back and open up the arm up above you as far as is comfortable. And then exhale out wide in a big semicircle and bring it back down to the bottom. Inhale up. Take it slowly, use the breath to work the speed. Exhale down. Next one we're going to hold in the twist. So inhale up. Exhale at the top and hold and take a couple of breaths here. thinking of the scapula here, so we're rotating in the upper body particularly. You may feel it in the lower body, but the upper body is a movement here, so draw that top shoulder round a little bit onto the back of your body if you can. And make sure your knee and arm are supporting each other, the front knee and the arm on the floor. And breathe. And on your next exhale, use it to slowly bring the hand back down to the floor. Bring that front foot back. And walk your hands forward. Carefully bring yourself down into prone shavasana. Hands under your head. I'm just lying here, eyes closed, hands, forehead being supported on your hands. And just notice the difference between your two side bodies, particularly. Can you feel that space? The other side, the left side, has been contracting a lot to allow the other one to open. So it might feel a bit closed up. You certainly probably don't feel completely symmetrical and balanced. But you can recognize from the open side just how good it feels and how spacious. And not just on the outside, there's much more room inside there now for things to sit in the proper place. So we're going to do all that again on the other side. So roll over carefully onto your back, and we'll start with Bananasana again. So when you're ready, we're thinking of the left side here. So we're going to walk towards the right with the feet and walk towards the right with the shoulders, keeping the hips heavy on the floor in the middle and central, and into the banana shape. Hands above the head if it's comfortable, keep the elbows bent if it's not. Take the wrist if you would like to extend, cross the feet if you'd like to extend. Wherever you are, think of dropping that left hip a little bit more into the floor. And feel that expansion then along the side body. And breathe. Find where you can take the breath to on your left hand side. Focus on the breath. Fill the mind. And walk back to central. Coming into Hapapanasana, make sure you've got your props round about you if you think you need them. And be aware it may be completely different on this side to the other, particularly since it has been contracting. So do take it easy. Holding the hands on the shin or behind the thighs. Just take a few in and outs on your in breath and the out breath. So inhaling, releasing slightly, exhaling, drawing the thigh towards your chest or towards your belly. Just watch the pressure on the knee, though, don't force through. If you're doing that and feeling it in your knee, you might want to take the hands a little bit further down your shin and try it there. And that won't be quite so pressured on through the knee joint. Never pressure the knee. Okay, so then we're going to roll over to the right hand side with that folded leg. So using your right hand on your left thigh, inhale. Use the exhale to roll over carefully. Use the other hand as your support. Coming over, finding support either with your hand, a brick, a bolster, whatever you need, or the floor. So the idea here is to try and stack one hip on top of the other. That's where we would be trying to get to. If you've rolled right over, then you've gone a little bit too far, possibly, but that's fine. What you might want to check is your upper shoulder. So if you've rolled too far, your upper shoulder will have pinged right up. So roll back to a sort of central point, a neutral point, and see if you can drop that back shoulder by looking towards your back hand and rotating it up towards the ceiling. And then using your right hand on your left thigh is a little bit of sandbag. Again, find the breath and use it to find what you're holding on to. Where is stopping you moving into this twist properly? Might be your mind. It might be the more you focus on your breath, the less your mind holds on. That's really all we're doing, is switching on the parasympathetic nervous system there. We're telling the body, it's safe, it's okay, don't worry, I've got this. And then it can release and relax and the muscles give a little bit and you move more into your twist in this position. So then drawing the tummy in, drawing the knee a little bit closer to your chest, drawing yourself back up and using the in-breath to bring yourself back up. Take that leg away, have a little bit of a stretch out through your left-hand side, and leg, if you want to. Bringing both knees in then when you're ready. Don't need to do it immediately. Take your time, one leg at a time, obviously. Have a little rock through your back if you feel you need it, or whatever you need, maybe hip circles, just to release off. And then when you're ready, draw the tummy in. Keep the knees close to the chest, trying to keep them stacked this time. Take the hands out to the side. Inhale, use your exhale to roll over again towards your right hand side. Find something to sit to support you if you need it. If you can get right over, fine, but watch that top shoulder then. Go back to it, see if you can just rotate and open. Look back towards the back hand. Find the breath again. See what's holding on. See if it's that lower hip. Feel the give. When you focus on something that's holding on and you use your exhale, you can really feel that release when it lets go. It's lovely feeling. And it is only holding on because it's trying to keep you safe, remember. But be aware if this side's completely different from the other, or if it might just feel the same. It might feel better, it might feel looser, it might feel tighter. Just depends on your body. And then roll the head back up to neutral if you want to try this part, and lift that, unfold the top leg and catch your big toe, your shin, wherever you want to hold on to. Being aware of the hamstring, remember. Looking towards that foot for a second or two and taking a few breaths. I must admit, most people like a twist class. There's something about twists that, for me, are just about as uplifting as the back bend classes that are always spoken of as the heart lifters or the mood changers. But twist classes can be quite tiring as well. They do wring you out a little bit if you do a full twist class. Not often you get a full twist class. So then bring the head back up to neutral, let that foot fold back in. Bring the knees a little bit closer to your you, and then engage your tummy muscles. Breathe in and lift back up to the top. Bring the feet to the floor one at a time. Take the legs away from you, have a full body stretch. And then when you're ready, come over for side plank. Think of that shoulder elbow connection. Heels in line with your bottom if you're going to use them to lever you up, because if they're not there, you won't get up very easily. And then think of that lower waist and lift it up, draw it up. When you're ready, breathing in, arms and hips or just one, whichever. Lifting up and opening. We take 2 lifts and opens. Really think about that rope being pulled at the center of you. Lift up and open. Watch that top shoulders not coming forward, as I say. And then last one, we're holding here. So opening up and inhale, exhaling at the top and holding, breathing. See if you can lift up a little bit more there. Open up that side body. Roll that shoulder back a little bit more if you can. Engage the tummy muscles. And breathe. And then settle down carefully back down. And exhale if you're on the breath. Turning round and coming up into tabletop. We're taking thread the needle again. As I say, if that's not for you, come down into child's pose and walk to the side and extend. So you'd be walking to the right hand side to extend your left side. Otherwise, wider leg stance is helpful. Inhale, we're taking the right arm up, opening up. Exhale, we're rolling down through, threading the needle through, coming down carefully to the floor. First of all, look at where your hips are, check out that they're stacked, and then walk that left hand forward. Come up onto your fingertips if you can with the left hand. And then see if you can just rotate a little bit through the shoulders to look underneath that left arm. And breathe. So where can you breathe to? Where's the easy point? Or maybe you can just soften everything and breathe carefully and comfortably. Maybe you can get a little bit more of an upper body twist. Just rotating slightly more through the shoulder blades to try and stack them a bit more. And then rotating carefully back round, bringing that hand in as your support. Inhaling, carefully coming up through as you inhale and open up very slowly, lifting that top arm up. And exhaling the arm back down to the floor. Coming into wide leg child's pose if you would like to there for a couple of breaths. If you don't want to do that, just put a few circles through your hips and circles through your shoulders. So rather than figure of eight, think of it as a circular movement today. Just drawing a big circle through all four limbs in one direction. So if a pencil was on your tummy, you'd just be drawing a big circle there. And then moving in the other direction. And then we're rocking back and we're bringing the right foot forward into low lunge, Anuloma Asana. That's the first Sanskrit I've used this morning, maybe. So, same thing on this side. So use a brick if you need to if you want to lift up. Bring your back knee in if you want to and just start up here. That's not a problem. Okay, so inhale, take the elbow back and open up into your twist. Exhale, we're stretching out and bringing the hand back down in a big semicircle. One more and then third one we'll hold. Inhale up. This one we're holding in the twist. Breathing. Maybe taking your head round and looking at the top arm if you can. Don't. Make sure the breath's nice and slow and easeful. And then bring the hand back down. Take that front foot back. Come back into prone shavasana. Again, look at your side bodies and see how it feels on both sides. We're going to take Bananasana to both sides. So let's go to the right, to your left hand side first of all, and go back to opening up the right side body. So walking the hands round, head round too. And then maybe your feet can go a little bit further round as well into that banana shape. So we've opened up, I've opened up my right side. If you've gone the other way, do not worry. We'll do both here. Quite different feeling upside down Bananasana. Harder to breathe maybe because we often breathe into our bellies. I mean, part of yogic breathing is using the belly. So here, try and use the back of the body to breathe. Moving into the back body, which is much more bony and not quite as soft and not quite as spacious. You have to really think of expansion here with the ribs and the pelvis, etc. being involved in the back of the body, shoulders. 65% of your lungs are in the back of your body. So just remember that. The back of the body does need to be able to move. And then walk back to central and walk over then to the other side in Bananasana. Breathing into whichever part of you feels the most vacant or spacious or ready to hold the breath and take the breath. Softening just a little bit more on your exhale if you can. Letting the body go into the floor. Walking back to centre. And just feeling for one more minute on your front here. That space in the back of the body here. Before we roll onto our backs, just focus on your back. Maybe it feels slightly looser, but a bit more flexible around your hips. Perhaps the back of your waist, you can feel a bit more length. Perhaps you can feel a spread across the back of your shoulders, along your upper arms. Your upper arm is actually joined to your massive lat muscle, which is the biggest, latissimus dorsi, which means the broadest back. It's a big triangular shaped muscle that comes from your pelvis right up across your shoulders and attaches to the upper arms. And so by opening up through the armpits, you're opening up through the top with the lat muscles as well. Everything is all very involved, and you never need to just focus on one part of us. So then, having spread that triangular lat muscle on the back of your body, feeling that space there, then roll over carefully onto your front and to your back rather. Let's bring one knee in at a time and come back into Apanasana, one of the favourite oldies. Holding your thighs again, or your, let's everybody pop the hands on the knees with the fingers facing towards the feet. And then just take a few hip circles. So stir the pot. So stirring your femur in the hip socket. Doesn't matter which direction you started in, we'll go the other way. Can be little tiny circles, could be getting bigger. As you do that, watch what's happening in your shoulders. They are taking the same shape, so they are going round in circles too. So 2 for the price of 1 here. Go in the other direction when you're ready. And then hop the feet to the floor, one at a time. Bring the legs away from you, bring your hands carefully up above your head. On the floor, your arms if you can, and then have a stretch through your right hand side. So as you stretch, focus on your waist and move the movement down your leg and up through to your fingers. So rather than feeling somebody's got you by the hand and the foot and they're pulling you outwards, move from your middle outwards. And hold gently there, not too forcefully, just hold and breathe and enjoy that space on the right side body. And then imagine that spot in the centre of the side of your waist and just draw everything carefully back down towards it. Take the same movement on the left hand side. So from your spot in your waist and the side of your body, move the stretch down through your leg, right down to your heel or your toes, up through your side body, up through your arms, up through to your fingers. Hold and breathe a couple of breaths here. Enjoy that stretch. And then releasing back to that center point. Sweep the arms round now, come into Shavasana. Palms facing upwards, shoulders tucked under, feet rolling outwards. And just focus on the space now on the front of your body. And if you're like me and I'm needing my breakfast here, you might can feel and hear pops and movements all through your tummy area. Things have been shuffled about. It may not be technically physiologically right that we're detoxing, but we definitely have moved stuff in there. And your organs are just made of the fascia that your skin, etc., is made of. So here and there, it needs to be moved and stretched, or it gets very tight inside you too. And so by just moving around and twisting, we've given our organs a bit of a shake up, like the main cycle in the washing machine, a bit of a rinse out, a bit of a spin maybe, and then hopefully now that they're settling back into their normal positions, they just feel better for it. So on that point, please remember you will feel dehydrated possibly today. It does take a little bit out of you, so do drink lots of water after this class. Particularly be careful that you don't dehydrate. And hopefully you won't feel wrung out, but you might feel a little bit tired as well, because physically it is quite a strenuous thing to do to your body, is to imagine a towel and we've just twisted it round and then twisted it the other way. So be wary and just take it easy. Find that breath again. Breathe in through your nostrils. And see if you can psychically breathe out through your left nostril without using your hands. In through your nostrils and out through your right nostril. Take a couple more. See if you can just make the exhale only focus on one nostril at a time. Ida nadi rather, your left nostril, releasing all staleness that you've still got inside you on the exhale. And when you're moved to the right nostril, your Pingala nadi, releasing any excess energy that you're still holding on to and are built up possibly. And then take 3 breaths, breathing in through your nostrils and sighing out through your mouth. Let go one last time of anything that you don't need to hold on to. After your 3rd breath, let go of the breath. Have a stretch or a rock about or anything you need to do before you move. Stay in Shavasana if you'd like to and you're able to. Otherwise, moving up with me and coming back up to Sukhasana. So a bit of housekeeping there. Hopefully we all feel a bit better for it. It can just clear paths for us by working through these things, and hopefully it'll make today's day easier for you all. So I don't know what's happened to my hair. Thank you. Thank you for the practice and practicing with me. Look after yourselves, and I'll see you in a couple of weeks. Namaste.